Hello, everybody. I'm Skip Elsheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime streaming show, where we watch old 16mm films and talk about them. That last film was part of the Coronet collection that we've been scanning, and that one was there was no soundtrack with it, and the reason why is that would be kind of not a master print. I can't remember what the actual vocabulary term for that is, but they would then have alternate audio tracks, one for English, one for French, one for German, one for Arabic, and so they would pair them and then make a negative from that. So we saw the Boyhood of Lincoln, but we didn't know much beyond that. I was looking in the comments and I noticed how much you guys like cats. So, I think I'm going to show you a film about cats, or specifically one cat. Enjoy.
This is the story of the cat who walked by himself. It's a true story, and it happened just so. Long ago, in the high and far-off times, all the tame animals were wild. The dog was wild, the horse was wild, the sheep was wild, the pig was wild as wild could be. But the wildest of all the wild animals was the cat. He walked by himself in the wet, wild woods, and all places were alike to him. Of course, the man was wild too, until he met the woman who tamed him. She picked out a nice dry cave and lit a cozy fire. She hung a wild horse skin across the cave mouth, and then she said, "Now we will keep house together. So wipe your feet, dear, when you come in." That night, they ate wild roast sheep with wild rice. The man decided that he liked being tame, and he went happily to sleep by the warm fire. But the woman stayed awake. She looked at the bone of the shoulder of mutton. She looked at the wonderful marks on it, and she made a magic. She made the first singing magic in the world. Out in the wet, wild woods, the wild horse stamped his wild foot and said, "Why have the man and woman made that great light?" But Wild Dog lifted up his wild nose and said, I must go and see for myself. Cat, come with me, please."
"No," said the cat. "I am the cat who walks by himself, and all places are alike to me. I will not come."
"Then we can never be friends again," said Wild Dog, and set off for the cave. Then the cat thought,
"It's true that I am the cat that walks by himself. However, I think I will go and look at this new light."
"Oh, my enemy, and wife of my enemy," said Wild Dog, "please give me another." Then the woman said, "If you will help my man hunt through the day, and if you guard this cave by night, then I will give you as many bones as you can eat."
"Ah,"
said the cat, listening. This is a very wise woman. Oh, my friend and wife of my friend, said Wild Dog, I will do as you ask if you promise to feed me those wonderful bones. Good, said the woman. From now on, you will be known as First Friend. Huh, said the cat. That is a very foolish dog. And he went back through the wet, wild woods, waving his wild tail and walking by his wild lone. The next night, the woman plaited a halter, and as she worked, she made a magic. She made the second singing magic in the world. Wild Horse stamped his wild foot and said, I will go and see why Wild Dog has not returned. Cat, come with me, please. No, said the cat. I am the cat who walks by himself. But as before, his curiosity got the better of him, and he followed and hid where he could hear everything. Oh, my enemy and wife of my enemy, where is Wild Dog? The woman laughed. You didn't come here for Wild Dog, but for the sake of this good grass. If you wear this halter, then you may eat this wonderful grass. Ah, said the cat, listening. This is a clever woman, but she is not so clever as I. Oh, my mistress and wife of my master, said Wild Horse. I will be your servant for the sake of this wonderful grass. Good, said the woman. From now on, you will be known as First Servant. Huh, said the cat. That is a very foolish horse. Next night, Wild Cow came up to the cave, just as before. And when Wild Cow had promised to give her milk in exchange for the wonderful grass, the cat went back through the wet, wild woods, waving his wild tail and walking by his wild lone. Next night, Cat waited to see if any other wild thing would go up to the cave. But no one moved, so he walked there by himself. Oh, wife of my enemy, where did Wild Cow go? The woman laughed. You're not really here for Wild Cow, but for the sake of her warm white milk. But it is no use, for we have no more need of either friends or servants. I'm not a friend or a servant. I am the cat who walks by himself. And although all places are alike to me, I would rather like to come into your warm cave. Woman said, then why did you not come in that first night with First Friend? Cat grew very angry. Has Wild Dog been telling tales about me? You are the cat who walks by himself, so go away and walk by yourself. Then Cat pretended to be sorry. Must I never come into the cave? Must I never sit by the warm fire? Must I never drink the warm white milk? You are wise and very beautiful. You should not be so cruel, even to a cat. I knew I was wise, said the woman, but no one has ever called me beautiful, so I shall make a bargain with you. If ever I should say one word in your praise, you may come into the cave. And if you should say 2 words in my praise? If I do, then you may sit by the fire. And if you should say 3 words, said the cat? Ha, I never shall. But if I do, Then you may drink the warm white milk." Then said Cat, "Now let the curtain at the mouth of the cave, and the fire at the back of the cave, and the milk pots that stand by the fire remember what the wife of my enemy has said." Only the bat, the little upside-down bat, knew where Cat hid, and every evening Bat would fly to the cat with news of what was happening. "There is a baby in the cave," said the bat. "He is new and pink and small, and the woman is very fond of him." "Ah," said the cat, "but what is the baby fond of?" "He is fond of things that are soft and warm and tickle." "Ah," said the cat, "then my time has come." Then the bat said, "Oh, my hostess and wife of my host, a wild thing is most beautifully playing with your baby." "I have been very busy," said the woman, "and he has done me a service by keeping my baby happy. So, "It is I," said the cat. "You have spoken one word in my praise, so now I may sit within the cave. But still, I am the cat who walks by himself, and all places are alike to me." "That was wonderfully done," said the woman. "There is no doubt about it. You are a very clever cat." "It is I," said the cat. "You have spoken a second word in my praise, so now I can sit by the warm fire. But still, I am the cat who walks by himself, and all places are alike to me." Then the woman grew very angry at being caught out again, and she made a magic that would prevent her from saying a third word in praise of the cat. It was not a singing magic. This time, it was a still, silent magic. "Oh, wife of my enemy," said the cat, "is that little mouse part of your magic?" "No, no, indeed." "Ah," said the cat, "then it will do me no harm if I eat it?" "Catch it, quickly, and I will be ever so grateful." "A 100 thanks. You are certainly a most remarkable cat." "It is I," said the cat. "You have spoken a third word in my praise, and now I can drink the warm white milk. But still, I am the cat who walks by himself, and all places are alike to me." "You have certainly got the best of me in our bargain," laughed the woman. "But here comes the man and the dog from hunting. They may be angry at your being here." "That is so. Now it is time for you to make a bargain with me. If you do not catch mice when you are in our cave, then I shall throw these 5 things at you whenever we meet." The cat counted the 5 things, and he said, "Yes, I will catch mice, but I shall never be your servant.
I am still the cat who walks by himself, and all places are alike to me.
Ha, said the man, your obstinate independence puzzles and angers me, so I shall still throw 3 of the 5 things at you whenever we meet. Wait a minute, said the dog. You've not made a bargain with me. If you are not kind to the baby, then I will hunt you till I catch you, and when I catch you, I will bite you.
I will be kind to the baby as long as he doesn't pull my tail too hard. But still, I am the cat who walks by himself.
Your obstinate independence puzzles and angers me, so I shall still chase you up a tree whenever we meet.
And ever since that day, 3 proper men out of 5 will throw things at a cat. And all proper dogs will chase him up a tree. And the cat keeps his side of the bargain. He will catch mice and is kind to babies so long as they don't pull his tail too hard. But in between times, when the moon comes up and the night falls, he goes out to the wet, wild woods or on the wet, wild roofs, waving his wild tail. For still he is the cat who walks by himself, and all places are alike to him.
Huh? All right. Yeah, this is the second time I've heard that, and I'm still kind of scratching my head like, what? What happened? We've shown other Just So stories that were barely animated, and this was distributed by Cornet, but was actually made by somebody else. Let's see. Let's learn about the problems of conservation soil. Enjoy.
To the farmer, soil has always meant the precious inches of topsoil in which he grows his crops. Early in the history of this continent, the growing national economy depended heavily on the farmer and the productivity of his soil. Most people in America lived on the land. Relatively few were city dwellers. But beginning in the 19th century, the face of the land began to change. Industrialization created an age of urban growth. The rise of the cities began. In little more than a century, the land became as much a place for building as for farming. And today, almost 3/4 of our population lives in urban areas where life is mechanized and the earth is paved. Although the basis of our economy has changed from agriculture to industry, and city dwellers seldom see the farmer's fields, the soil is more important to the nation than ever before, for it must help feed and clothe and house a population that has doubled in just 50 years. Much of the abundance, many of the necessities and luxuries on which people depend, still come from the soil. How are we as a nation caring for this life-supporting surface of the land? How are we conserving this precious resource? To answer these questions, we must first understand the nature of soil and how it is formed. Good, productive soil is a relatively thin layer on the very top surface of the land. But topsoil is not the same all over the world. This black soil is rich. This light sandy soil may be equally rich. Even though soils may look the same, they can be different, varying sharply in fertility and composition. Each kind of soil is capable of supporting differing types of plant life because of its particular characteristics. But though soils differ widely, nearly all soils have one common characteristic. They were formed from materials that were originally rock. Rock which has been broken down into tiny particles by natural processes. No matter how fine the parent rock material may become, it will not be soil until organic material is added. Decaying plants and animal remains furnish this organic matter. Bacteria decompose the plant and animal remains. Other earth-dwelling organisms aerate the soil and help to fertilize it with their castings. It takes nature 500 to 1,000 years to build 1 inch of topsoil. But in minutes, man can disrupt the natural balance that created it with a simple turn of a plow. The key to natural soil conservation is vegetation, plant life, ranging from thick grasses of prairie areas to the dense forests of mountain regions. Plants and their underground root systems form a natural ground cover, which holds soil in place and helps prevent its erosion by the forces of rain and wind. When rain falls on soil that has good plant cover, the explosive force of the raindrops is cushioned and lessened before the water reaches the soil. Most of the water is absorbed. What runs off moves slowly. Roots hold the soil together. Every spring, when farmers plow under the natural ground cover as they prepare for planting, they expose their topsoil to water erosion. With the natural cover removed, each raindrop hits the soil directly with explosive force. Now the water may tear into the soil easily and wash it off in small rills and gullies. A jar of water taken from the runoff of freshly plowed fields into this river illustrates the loss of soil. If we allow the sediment to settle, you can see that about 1/4 inch of topsoil lies above the bottom of the jar. From what we saw in the 1/2 gallon jar, imagine how much soil is carried by the entire river. On this soil, it is easy to see the beginning effects of water erosion. If this situation remains unchecked, it can lead to gullies so deep the fields can no longer be plowed. Each rain will cut this gully back farther and farther into the good soil. The erosion of soil by water can create problems which extend beyond a local situation like this. Much topsoil is carried in streams to the mouths of rivers where it interferes with navigation and requires constant, costly dredging operations. In some places, sediment builds up behind dams and reduces the water storage capacity of reservoirs. What was valuable to a local farmer has become a problem hundreds of miles away. But water is only one of 2 major forces which make topsoil vulnerable to erosion. A field stripped of its natural cover can also be eroded by wind. Even under normal conditions, with good rainfall to help hold soil together, the wind can remove a considerable amount of topsoil from exposed fields. Some of it accumulates in hollows and roadways, much like drifting snow in winter. Much more than this is carried away and lost forever to the farmer. In the Great Plains states, where woods and hills do not break the sweep of wind, the plowed fields are particularly vulnerable to this type of erosion. Together, wind, and water carry away millions of tons of topsoil a year from farmlands throughout the world. Over the years, as man has used the soil to produce his food and fibers, he has frequently disrupted another natural balance within the soil itself. Many years ago, this land was capable of producing a high yield of fine quality corn. The soil was rich in well-balanced nutrient minerals. Slowly, they were used up. The soil was no longer fertile. Here, in the same type of soil, man replaced the nutrients used by the plants, and the fields still yield abundantly. It is not easy to see the loss of soil through depletion of its nutrients. It's not as dramatic as erosion, but it is an important cause of the shrinking volume of our high-yield topsoil. Through a combination of wind and water erosion and depletion of soil nutrients, thousands and thousands of acres have been temporarily lost to production. Long ago, when a farmer's soil became poor, he moved on to another area. Today, there is no virgin land left. And the requirements of a rapidly expanding population are taxing our land resources. New superhighways alone have taken land almost equivalent to the combined areas of the Netherlands and Belgium. Yet, in spite of such demands on our available land, we have the knowledge to expand the usefulness of our existing topsoil. We know how to practice soil conservation, and we have an effective national organization to help us do so. In 1935, Congress established the U.S. Soil Conservation Service, an agency that has become internationally known and copied in other countries. Through soil conservation districts, organized and controlled by the states, technical assistance is available to landowners and operators in developing, applying, and maintaining sound conservation plans on their land. Experts working with farmers recommend specific conservation practices. Here, the initial lines for contour plowing are being marked. Plowing with the contour of the land instead of up and down hills is a proven soil conservation practice that prevents water runoff. Plowing the remains of the last crop back into the soil also increases its water holding efficiency and reduces erosion. Rip-wrapping of stream banks protects them from being cut away by the rush of water. And grade stabilization dams at certain intervals prevent fast water runoff that causes erosion and flooding. Where wind erosion is a problem, farmland must be kept in some kind of cover. The use of winter crops, carefully planned crop rotation, and restoration of grass or forage plants are all parts of a good conservation program. Rows of trees planted at right angles to the prevailing wind have proven highly effective in reducing wind erosion. Terracing and strip cropping with the contour of the land or at right angles to the wind also help to reduce erosion by wind and water. On test plots, soil conservationists work continually to combat depletion of soil nutrients. The use of fertilizers, a long-established practice, has become a highly developed skill in the hands of specialists. The knowledge gained in these experiments is passed on to the farmer. But the Soil Conservation Service has responsibilities that extend beyond the use of land for agriculture only. Other activities include assistance in the layout of drainage and water disposal systems, farm ponds, irrigation, recreation and preservation of the natural beauty of the land. Many farmers have added income from recreational areas that have been developed within easy driving distance from urban centers. As our population grows, the use of land becomes more competitive. Much land will be taken from highly productive soils, because steep and rough areas are less desirable for urban growth and public facilities. So that there will be fewer mistakes in locating the best soils for specific use, land use planning is a new and important conservation practice. These specially prepared maps of the Soil Conservation Service show the capabilities and limitations for agriculture, housing and light industry, transportation, and recreation within a certain area. Governments and the United Nations are making great contributions to the preservation of the precious soil resources all over the world. But much remains to be done. One of our most urgent tasks today is to create a general awareness of this problem. To feed the exploding population of the world requires wiser use of the land, plus more precise and effective management practices. Until we accomplish this goal, there will continue to be areas of the world in which people are hungry.
Music. That's what I usually expect from Encyclopedia Britannica film, is some play-out music, but I guess we didn't have that. Let's see. Got a Centron film for you. And this is fascinating. It is an instructional film on how to conduct a meeting. And it talks a little bit about Robert's Rules of Order, I believe, and parliamentary procedure. But, man, we need, when it comes to social and civil meetings, people need to learn some rules. So maybe pass this on to your friends. This is How to Conduct a Meeting. And this is the second edition. Thank you, Centron.
We're going to sit in on a meeting of a neighborhood improvement association. Groups, such as this one, gather regularly to discuss the future actions and policies of their organizations. For all except the most informal meetings, such groups are usually made up of a presiding officer who may be the chairperson or the president of the group. Other officers, and of course, the individual members.
The meeting will come to order.
Meetings such as this one seek out the will of the majority while giving the minority a fair hearing. Clubs, businesses, schools, churches, and governments depend upon conducting their business in an orderly manner. In an orderly manner? How did all this happen so fast? Pardon me. Excuse me. Please. May I? Quiet! Thank you. Madam President, what do you say we start again? Remember, there is a definite order of business to follow.
Now?
Now.
The meeting will please come to order.
So far, so good.
Will the secretary please read the minutes of the last meeting?
The regular monthly meeting of the Southside Improvement Association was held on the second Tuesday.
Thank you. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? If there are no corrections, the minutes will stand approved as read by the secretary. And now may we have the treasurer's report?
Treasurer's report, November 13th. After paying bills approved at our last meeting, at which time it was...
Are there any reports from special committees?
Madam President,
Ms. Kennedy.
the Social Committee wishes to report that we've completed plans for our annual awards banquet.
Thank you, Ms. Kennedy. Old or unfinished business is now in order. Discussion of the motion to send delegates to the seminar in Denver was interrupted by adjournment. Would anyone care to resume the discussion?
Yes.
Madam President.
Yes, I still say what I did at the last meeting. We can't afford this.
No, we can't. We have money in the Treasury.
I think we should send the officers and pay their expenses.
Oh, of course. Why not? You're an officer.
Whoa, hold it. Break it up. You did it again.
You're right. Sorry.
I should think you would be. In the last few seconds, you've broken almost every rule for stating and discussing a main motion. That must be what got you in trouble before. So, let's try it again. Starting with the president's call for unfinished business.
Unfinished business is now in order. Discussion of the motion to...
Do you know the exact wording of the motion? Then you should ask the secretary to read it, because it's essential that a motion is correctly understood by everyone present.
Discussion of the motion to send delegates to the seminar in Denver was interrupted by adjournment. Will the secretary please read the motion?
It was moved and seconded that we should consider sending 3 delegates to the annual convention. The motion was made by Samuel Decker and seconded...
Do I hear any discussion of the motion as read by the secretary?
Madam President. Madam President.
Mr. Decker.
I think that we should designate 3 people to attend the seminar in Denver.
I still think we should send 3 officers.
Yes, that makes more
Madam President!
No?
No.
Oh.
You see, as the presiding officer, you never take sides or state your opinion. Your duty is to stimulate and to moderate, not to argue.
But
Yes? Yes?
Nothing.
I still feel that we should designate 3 people to attend the seminar.
Do I hear any further discussion?
Madam President,
Mrs. Brown?
I'm dead set against sending delegates to this meeting. It's a waste of time and money, and all they do at those seminars is talk, talk, talk.
She's right. Let's use our money and our efforts for some constructive action instead of more yakking.
Madam President. Madam President, I demand to be recognized.
Mr. Decker?
It seems to me that we'd be wasting our efforts and money if we don't send delegates to the seminar. If we jump into some big local project without first finding out how other groups have handled the same problem, we could make some costly mistakes. Let's learn from the experience of others. Let's plan.
Decker, all you want to do is stand
Excuse
and talk about
me.
it.
Madam President, you've just lost control of the discussion and the meeting.
Really? I thought the debate was just starting to get good.
Not if your objective is to hold orderly and open discussions of the issues to reach a fair agreement.
Well, where did I go wrong?
Go back to Mrs. Brown's comments. As soon as she finished talking, you allowed Mr. Green to speak out without being recognized by the chair.
I shouldn't have let him do that, huh?
Right. And your second mistake was in permitting 2 speakers in a row to present the same side of the argument. When there are clear-cut sides in a debate, you should alternate the pro and con speakers so both sides have a fair chance to present their views.
That makes sense.
The rules for conducting a meeting do make sense.
Anything else?
Yes. You made another error when you recognized Mr. Decker for the second time.
What was wrong with that?
He had already had the chance to state his views. The chairperson should make sure that before anyone is recognized to speak for a second time, that anyone else waiting to speak has a chance.
Oh, I get it. So during debate, the chairperson alternates between pro and con speakers and gives everyone a chance to be heard before anyone speaks twice.
You've got it. The other point to keep in mind is that the chairperson is responsible for making sure the speaker's remarks are germane to the subject. If a speaker wanders off into a subject that's not pertinent, you have to get the discussion back on the track.
Right. I'd like to try that again.
Fine. Go right ahead.
Madam President.
The chair recognizes Mr. Kennedy.
Madam President, I feel that we should investigate what other groups have gained.
Is there any further discussion? It has been moved and seconded that we send 3 delegates to the seminar in Denver. All those in favor, please raise your right hands. 9. Those opposed, the same sign. 5.
5.
The motion is carried. New business is now in order.
Madam President,
Mr. Decker.
I move that $200 per delegate be set aside from our treasury to help cover expenses for our delegates at the seminar.
I second that motion.
It has been moved and seconded that the sum of $200 per person be set aside from our treasury to help cover delegate expenses during the seminar. Is there any discussion?
Madam President,
Mr. Palmer.
I move to amend the motion by striking the words per person and the words to help cover delegate expenses at the seminar, and by inserting the words for a neighborhood picnic.
I'll second that motion.
It has been moved and seconded that the main motion before the House be amended.
Madam President, I rise to a point of order.
You what? Oh, yes. Please state your point of order.
My point is that the amendment now proposed is not germane to the main motion and is therefore out of order. A neighborhood picnic has nothing to do with the subject of paying delegates' expenses.
Madam President, my amendment deals with the expenditure of funds and is therefore not out of order.
Mr. Palmer, you have not been recognized by the chair, nor is the point of order debatable unless the chair refers it to the group. Now let's see. The question is whether the subject of the main motion is paying our delegates' expenses or the expenditure of funds. It seems clear that the proposer of the main motion was concerned with delegate expenses, not how we spend our money.
Exactly.
The amendment last proposed is out of order.
Madam President,
Mr. Palmer.
I move that we adjourn.
Now, wait a minute. What about the rest of you? Are you just going to sit there
Madam President, the motion to adjourn is a privileged motion and is not debatable.
It has been moved that we adjourn.
Shame on you, Palmer. Oh, that was a sharp move, all right. Your amendment was ruled out, so you got mad. And since you know a few tricks of parliamentary procedure, you decided to foul up the works.
Well,
You can do just that if you decide to, because parliamentary law is set up to protect the rights of all, even the dissenters.
Well, yes, you see, that's why I...
No, it isn't. You were angry. You weren't interested in the rights of the group as a whole, as much as in your own wounded pride.
Madam President,
Mr. Palmer.
I retract my motion to...
A motion can be withdrawn by its mover before it has been seconded and stated by the chair. The main motion is thus open for discussion once again.
At the seminar.
Thank you, Mr. Palmer. Is there any further discussion on the original motion?
Madam President,
Mr. Palmer?
I move to amend the motion by striking the words $200 and inserting in their place $100.
I'll second that motion.
It has been moved and seconded that the motion before the group be amended by striking out the words $200 and inserting in their place $100. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, the same sign. The motion is carried. Unless there is any further discussion, we will now vote on the main motion as amended. Will the secretary please read the amended motion?
It has been moved and seconded that the sum of $100 per person be set aside from our treasury to help cover delegate expenses during the seminar.
All those in favor, please raise your right hands. All those opposed, the same sign. The motion is carried. Do I hear any further new business?
Madam President?
Ms. Taylor.
The nominating committee is ready to report on our recommendation for the position of regional coordinator.
And what is the recommendation of the committee?
We nominate Ralph Scanlon.
Thank you. Ralph Scanlon's name has been placed in nomination for the office of regional coordinator. Do I hear any nominations from the floor?
Madam President,
Mr. Martinez.
I nominate Joyce Leatherman.
I'll second that motion.
A nomination is not a motion, so a second is not required, Blanche.
Sorry, I didn't know that.
That's all right. Do I hear any other nominations?
Madam President,
Mrs. Miller?
I would like to place the name of Bob Seeley in nomination.
Bob Seeley has been nominated. Do I hear any further nominations?
Madam President, I move that the nominations be closed.
It has been moved that the nominations be closed. Do I hear a second?
I second that motion.
It has been moved and seconded that the nominations be closed. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, the same sign. The nominations are closed. We will now proceed with a vote.
Madam President,
Yes?
you have 3 candidates for the same office.
Yes?
Well, it's very possible that no one of them will receive over half the votes. Do you know whether a candidate can be elected with a simple plurality, or is a majority required?
I don't know. Which is it?
Well, that varies from one organization to another. I'd suggest that you check your bylaws to see what the rule is in your organization.
We'll do that. Thanks for the tip. Check that. We will now vote on the candidates for the office of regional coordinator. All those in favor of Ralph Scanlon, please raise
If the bylaws are silent on the question of majority or plurality vote, a runoff vote of the top 2 candidates will have to be taken if none of the candidates receives a majority on the first ballot.
Ralph Scanlon is our new regional coordinator. Do I hear any further new business? If not, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Madam President,
Mr. Palmer.
I move that we adjourn.
I second that motion.
It has been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, the same sign. The meeting is adjourned.
That was very well done. But just to be sure we remember them, let's run through the most important steps for conducting a meeting one more time, shall we?
That's a good idea.
First, a meeting has a definite order of business, which includes calling the meeting to order.
The meeting will come to order.
The regular monthly meeting of the
Reading the minutes of the last meeting.
was held on the second Tuesday.
Hearing regular reports.
Treasurer's report, November 13th.
The Social Committee
Hearing reports of the committees.
completed plans for our annual awards banquet.
Taking up unfinished business.
What other groups have gained by attending such a conference.
Taking up new business.
$100 per delegate be set aside from our treasury to help cover expenses.
And adjournment.
I move that we adjourn.
Now, let's take one more look at the life history of a main motion.
I move that $200
The motion is made.
be set aside from our treasury to help cover expenses for our delegates at the seminar.
Seconded.
I second that motion.
It has been moved and seconded that the sum of $200 per person be set aside from our treasury.
Stated to the group.
Delegate expenses during the seminar. Is there any discussion?
Discussed if necessary.
I'm dead set against sending delegates to this meeting. It's a waste of time and money.
Amended if necessary.
I move to amend the motion by striking.
The motion is restated.
It has been moved and seconded that the sum of $100 per person be set aside from our treasury to help cover delegate
There is a vote.
during the seminar.
All those in favor, please raise your right hand.
And the results of the vote are announced.
The motion is carried. Do I hear any further new business? I think we've got it now. And thanks for helping us out.
Well, that's all right. I hoped you wouldn't mind my butting in.
Not at all.
And I, for one, am glad you did.
Then you're not upset, Mr. Palmer?
Well, I was, but... Well, I was out of order. I knew a few tricks and I used them. I thought it would be fun.
It can be, but you'll find that the rules are more enjoyable when they're used to get the job done.
Yes.
My God. I'm so sorry for today. Today seemed very mind-numbing. We start off with the bizarre, not just so story about the cat who walked by himself. And then this whole conservation wasn't bad, but man, that how to conduct a meeting, the Robert Rules of Order, it is amazing that we're able to get anything done. It seems like nowadays people just yell until somebody acquiesces, but holy cow. Woo! All right, I promise to do something better tomorrow because that was outrageous. I mean, we did have like a premarital sex film yesterday with It's Up to Lori, but oof. And then I have stuff on the scanner, but it's all chemistry films, and they are not interesting at all. So I'm gonna save you that. And you know, it's at the end of the show today, but don't judge. If this is your first time watching this streaming show, please do not judge today's content. Or maybe, you know, you guys in the comments, you can say, yeah, this is how it goes. Not every day is great, and sometimes the films are just bafflingly bureaucratic. But if you did kind of get the gist of what we're doing and kind of like the idea of what we're doing, with the hopes that one day we will show you something that is fascinating again, you can hit the like button or the thumbs up button or the notification bell. You can also donate via the Super Thanks thing. I'm not expecting anybody to donate today. Which is in the YouTube comments. You can also donate via ko-fi.com/avgeeks or go to patreon.com/avgeeks. Those are other ways to support us. And you can also go to our YouTube channel and see other films that are more interesting and also some that are less interesting. Yeah. I don't know why today I'm apologizing, but there you go. But, you know, as always, please rewind and love each other, including yourself. And we will see you tomorrow. Everybody have a great Tuesday. Take care.